A major embarrassment for the Kremlin after one of Vladimir Putin's so-called wonder weapons suffered a catastrophic failure just seconds after liftoff. We'll show you what went wrong with the Satan II missile and why it's only the latest setback in a Russian weapons program struggling to live up to its own hype. We'll begin with something Vladimir Putin did not want the world to see. Another one of his so-called super weapons blowing up on the launch pad. The weapon at the center of this spectacular failure is the RS-28 Sarmat, better known in NATO circles as Satan II, because every missile needs a catchy name. It's supposed to be the crown jewel of Russia's next-generation nuclear arsenal. Instead, this week, well, it became the punchline. Here's what we know. Russian forces attempted a Sarmat launch from a test facility in the Orenburg region, and just seconds after ignition, well, things went very wrong. The missile veered off course almost immediately, that's never good, belching thick black smoke before crashing down and detonating in a fireball. Again, not what you want. Witnesses reported a purple plume rising afterward, exactly what you'd expect when a hypergolic liquid-fueled missile ruptures and its toxic propellants combust in the open air. And yes, that's the first time I've ever said a sentence that contains the phrase hypergolic liquid-fueled missile. Hopefully it's not the last. For a weapon Putin insists will hold the United States at risk anywhere on Earth, it seems to be struggling to travel more than a few hundred feet. So, what is Sarmat supposed to be? In theory, Satan II is Russia's answer to aging Soviet hardware. It's a colossal, silo-launched intercontinental ballistic missile, the heaviest ICBM in the world. It's designed to carry multiple nuclear warheads or even experimental hypersonic glide vehicles across continents. Putin has spent years advertising it as unstoppable, fast, powerful, and capable of evading any missile defense system that the U.S. could field. But here's the problem for the Kremlin. The track record, it doesn't match the sales pitch. Sarmat had its first and basically only verified full test flight back in April of 2022. Since then, it's been nothing but a parade of failures. We've seen aborted launches. We've seen test silos obliterated. In 2024, one attempt ended with a crater so large that analysts could track it from space. And now comes this latest embarrassment, an explosion so obvious that observers hundreds of miles away caught the plume as it drifted upward. The bottom line is simple. If nuclear deterrence depends on reliability, well, then Sarmat is not deterring anyone. As a matter of fact, it's doing the opposite. It's advertising how fragile Russia's nuclear program appears to be. And this isn't an isolated problem. We've covered several other Russian wonder weapons here on the PDB, and they're running into similar issues. Take the Burevestnik, also known as Skyfall. This is the nuclear-powered cruise missile that Putin unveiled back in 2018. Now, it was supposed to fly indefinitely using a miniature reactor. In reality, it's produced repeated test failures and one infamous 2019 explosion that killed nuclear engineers and sent radiation levels climbing along Russia's northern coast. Then there's the Poseidon nuclear underwater drone. That's a 2-meter-wide torpedo designed to unleash a radioactive tidal wave against coastal cities. There's been major delays, production bottlenecks, and uncertain deployment timelines. For all the dramatic animation videos that have been shown on Russian state TV, Poseidon remains a concept weapon at best. Maybe what Putin should do is just go back to the basics. Let's put some laser beams on the heads of sharks. Putin loves to talk about these systems as if they would signal a technological leap, a new era of strategic dominance. But taken together, a different picture emerges. These programs are expensive, over-engineered, and increasingly exposed by sanctions, shortages, and the loss of skilled workers in Russia's defense sector. Old Soviet-era infrastructure can only carry you so far. To state the obvious, eventually you have to build new things that actually work. And right now, for the Kremlin, that's proving harder than the propaganda lets on. So, yes, Russia still possesses a serious nuclear arsenal. No one should dismiss that. It's a very serious issue. But the crown jewels of Putin's next-generation superweapons are telling a different story. The Burevestnik sputters, Poseidon stalls, and the mighty Satan II, Putin's pride and joy, keeps prematurely exploding. There's got to be medication for that. Coming up next, the latest on U.S. talks with Russia over the Ukraine conflict. I'll be right back. Hey, Mike Baker here, PDB host and, of course, fashion icon. Now, I want to tell you about a great clothing company out there. It's called True Classic. The guys at True Classic started with a simple mission: to bring premium, comfortable clothing to the masses. Because looking and feeling great, well, it shouldn't come with a designer price tag. And clearly, the people agree. True Classic has sold over 25 million shirts to more than 5 million customers, and in the process have racked up over 200,000 five-star reviews. That's right. This brand look is all about helping guys show up every day with confidence and purpose. Their shirts fit where they should, they feel incredible, and they don't break the bank. You get that tailored look without sacrificing comfort or blowing your budget, and that is important. I've been wearing True Classic shirts for a while now, and they are terrific. You can feel the difference the moment you throw one on. They fit great, they feel great. What's not to like? Come on. Forget overpriced designer brands. Skip the cheap throwaway stuff. True Classic is built for comfort, built to last, and built to give back. You can find them on Amazon or at Target, Costco, Sam's Club, or just head on over to trueclassic.com/PDB to try them out for yourself. Hey, Mike Baker here. Let me take just a moment of time to talk about your security. That's important, right? And specifically, your online security. And I want to tell you about a great company called Delete Me that's all about keeping you safe online. Look, Delete Me makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable. Delete Me sends you regular personalized privacy reports showing what information they found, where they found it, and what they've removed. If you're like me, you care about protecting your personal data. And I know that Delete Me helps us stay ahead of threats like identity theft and doxing by removing information from data broker sites. Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. And you can now get a special discount just for our PDB listeners. Get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/brief and use the promo code BRIEF at checkout. Again, the only way to get that 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/brief and enter code BRIEF at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/brief, code BRIEF. Welcome back to the Afternoon Bulletin. Now, it's fair to be skeptical when Russia talks about progress in peace talks. But after President Trump's envoys emerged from a 5-hour meeting that stretched into this morning in the Kremlin, Moscow spun a narrative more upbeat than what we're used to. The Kremlin didn't waste time shaping its message. Officials close to Russian President Putin said he accepted parts of the U.S. proposals for peace and pushed back on others in the meeting. But the headline was the same. According to the Kremlin, he's ready to keep meeting Trump's team, quote, as many times as it takes. Well, or until he wins the war, whichever comes first. And the interviews after the marathon meeting with Russian negotiators who were seated at the table reveal that the overall message sounded more relaxed than usual, the kind of tone that suggests those hours with Steve Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, actually cleared some space to work. At least, that, again, is the message that the Kremlin wants to put out there. From Moscow's side, spokesman Dmitry Peskov tried to tamp down what he called the media, quote, noise swirling around the talks. This wasn't, he said, some dramatic rejection or breakdown in an already battered relationship between the two sides. Instead, Peskov said it was the first real back and forth, the first time both sides laid out what they could accept and what they couldn't. He even went out of his way to thank President Trump for, quote, his efforts to secure potential peace, a gesture the Kremlin doesn't usually dish out unless it's trying to signal genuine movement or, frankly, unless it's trying to flatter a leader in order to continue a strategy of block and delay or to secure their long-standing demands. And I'm sorry if I sound cynical about Putin's motives. Imagine that. As for the major players seated on Moscow's side of the table, it was Putin's longtime foreign policy advisor, Yuri Ushakov, who struck the same optimistic note as Peskov. He said American negotiators made clear they'd take Russia's key positions into account and described the conversation as, quote, very positive and very useful. But there's notable silence from Washington. The Trump administration has yet to share its view of the meeting. Secretary of State Marco Rubio told Fox News last night that there's, quote, some progress, but we're not there yet, end quote. And so, despite the positive framing of the meeting from Moscow, I want to point out that the biggest obstacles really haven't moved at all. Moscow continues to demand that Ukraine surrenders eastern territory, shrink its active military, and abandon its NATO ambitions. Those are all red lines that Kyiv insists it will not cross under any circumstances. As you're aware, the original U.S. 28-point peace plan that leaked last month rattled Ukraine and European capitals, prompting Washington and Kyiv to pull together an updated 19-point framework during talks in Geneva. And that revised plan still hasn't been released publicly, but Putin said it's now divided into 4 components for negotiation, another sign that Trump's team is trying to reshape the diplomacy into something workable, or a sign perhaps that Putin is successful at making the other side imagine that he's interested in peace. Whichever. In Kyiv, Ukrainian President Zelensky said his government is preparing for more meetings with American officials and promised Ukraine would, quote, work constructively in pursuit of a real peace, end quote. That's nice. But in case you haven't heard me beat this dead horse before, unless Putin backs away from his maximalist demands, it doesn't matter what the U.S. and Ukraine chat about around the negotiating table. And that, my friends, is the PDB Afternoon Bulletin for Wednesday, the 3rd of December. Now, if you have any questions or comments, please reach out to me at pdb@thefirsttv.com. And, of course, to listen to the show ad-free, well, you know you can do that, and it's very simple. Just become a premium member of the President's Daily Brief by visiting pdbpremium.com. I'm Mike Baker, and I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, stay informed, stay safe, stay cool. Hey, Mike Baker here, with a word from our friends over at Brickhouse Nutrition. Now, maybe you've asked yourself this in the past. I'm sure you have, frankly. Do you ever wonder if doctors have Cyber Monday sales? Well, the answer is the doctors at Brickhouse Nutrition do. And this is your last chance to save 30% on everything. It's the final hours of the biggest sale of the year on trusted doctor-formulated health products, all 30% off. Like, as an example, Lean, L-E-A-N, right? Lean, the weight loss breakthrough to help you lose meaningful weight without injections. And there's also Creatone, pure creatine made just for women to help you look fit, leaner, and toned without extra dieting or exercise. You even get 30% off a Field of Greens. This stuff is terrific. It's the superfruit and vegetable drink shown in a university study to slow aging and deliver the results that your doctor will notice. Who doesn't want that? Come on. Every Brickhouse product, from better sleep to superior collagen, is 30% off. And it's your last chance to save during the Brickhouse Nutrition Cyber Monday sale. So visit brickhousesale.com and save 30%. Again, that's brickhousesale.com.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and leave a comment, a really positive, nice, and kind comment. That would be appreciated. And if you're not already subscribed to our channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our daily updates.